Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, also known as Taylor with an E, and I'm officially into my 4th year teaching in South Korea. So today I want to share with you guys 10 things I love about my job teaching here, because it's a big part of the reason why I've chosen to stay here so long. Let me start off by saying, growing up, I never saw myself becoming a teacher. In my list of dream jobs that I had, probably since elementary school, teacher was never one of them. Actually, before I came to Korea, I was a graphic designer, but here I am, 4 years later, still teaching, and definitely no plans to leave this job or Korea anytime soon. So without further ado, here are my 10 things that I love about my job teaching in Korea. So the first reason why I love this job is because that it is minimal stress. I feel like this is the least stressful job I have ever had, and that was such a welcome change coming from my previous job. I think the workload is manageable, even kind of light at times. There's not too much responsibility on me as a native teacher besides teaching and planning my classes. I don't grade or give out homework, and the work hours are great, which I'll talk about more in my next point. Plus, I feel I have been so lucky to have had so many great Korean co-teachers who have helped me so much when planning and teaching these classes. And I think it also helps that there are so many resources and materials available online from current teachers, from past teachers, that I can use when planning my classes. I actually think the most stressful part of my job is the class management aspect, which is one of the biggest things I'm working on, especially when I have really large classes and some really unruly students. But again, having a co-teacher in the classroom with you really takes the pressure off and really helps out because they can also help manage the class as well. Alright, so on to number 2, the second reason why I love this job, the work hours. So the traditional work hours at a Korean public school are 8 hours a day, which includes about an hour for lunch. So I get to school at 8:30 a.m. and then leave at 4:30 p.m. So you may think this is pretty standard, like a 9 to 5, but for me what really differentiates this job is that when I'm done at 4:30, I am done at 4:30. Like, I won't take work home with me, or I won't stay longer to complete it either. I am done. So in my 3 years teaching here, I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've either had to go in early or stay a little later to get work finished. And I have yet to go home stressing about work that I need to get done the next day, which was pretty much a constant at my last job. And when I do go home, I don't feel tired, worn out, or overworked. So I feel like I have the energy and the free time to do other things I want to do. So third on my list, we have one of the biggest reasons I love my job here, and that is the PTO. So as an EPIK public school teacher, I get 26 vacation days. So that's 13 days I can take during summer vacation and 13 days I can take during winter vacation. Then, on top of those vacation days, we also get Korean national holidays off, which could be from 12 to 18 days depending on the day the holiday falls on during the year. Then, on top of vacation days and national holidays, I also get 11 sick days per year, which I don't know about you guys, but at my last job, my vacation days and my sick days were pretty much treated the same, and I only got 14 of those per year. So that's why I am so grateful to this job for giving me as much time off as it does, because I have been able to travel so much more than I could have ever imagined, especially with how close Korea is to so many other countries, and it has also allowed me to go home and visit my family each year. So on to reason number 4 why I love this job, the pay. So I'm gonna just put this out there because it's public knowledge anyway, as in you can find all this information on EPIK's website. But as a 4th year English teacher with EPIK, I make about 2.3 million won per month, which is about $1,900. And this salary is adjusted year to year depending on your qualifications as a teacher, as well as how many years you have been teaching with EPIK. So I realize for most people this may not seem like a lot of money, money, especially when we're talking about a monthly salary. But when you take into account Korea's cost of living, which is not too high, plus all the benefits this job provides, you will find that this amount is more than enough to live comfortably here. I know people who easily save at least $1,000 a month on the salary. And actually, one of the reasons a lot of teachers choose to come to teach in Korea is to help pay off student loans or any other payments they have back home. And with that, it brings me to number 5, the many benefits this job provides. One of the reasons South Korea was my top choice of countries to teach in were the many amazing benefits that came along with teaching here. Let me just go ahead and list those off for you. 1, you get rent-free housing, as in a free, fully furnished apartment paid for by your school, plus a 300,000 won settlement fee, which allows you to buy other things you want to furnish it with. 2, EPIK completely pays for your airfare to and from Korea at the beginning and end of your contract. 3, the money bonuses. You get a bonus for completing your contract, which is 1 month's salary times the number of years you have worked for your Office of Education. Plus, if you have decided to renew your contract, you also get a 2 million won bonus on top of that. 4, if you are from the US, Canada, or Australia, money will be taken out of your paycheck each month and matched by your school to be put into a pension account, which is like, your retirement account here in Korea. And 5, last but not least, you are covered by the super affordable Korean National Healthcare Plan. So now on to number 6. The school lunches. Yes, just like your childhood experience, lunch is provided at school every day, and not just for the students, but for the teachers too. I just love not thinking about what I'm going to eat for lunch every day. And it helps that Korean lunches are pretty healthy and delicious too. And if you watch my day in the life vlog, you also know that Korean school lunches are really cheap. So basically what happens is that a lump sum is taken out of my paycheck every month to pay for lunch. So that ends up being about $2 per meal, which is super cheap, especially for the quality of Korean food you're getting. Alright, so now we're on to reason 7 why I love my job teaching here in South Korea. And it's that this job allows me to be creative. So this was something I really worried about when I was making the decision to change my career from a graphic designer to a teacher. I felt like, in a way, I was throwing my whole college education away, and something I worked really hard to be great at. But pretty soon after getting here, I realized there was a space for me to design and be creative within the Korean education system, and that was through making PowerPoints. So as a public school teacher, I create so many PowerPoints, like a ridiculous amount, whether it's informational presentations or English games to play during class. And I found that I really enjoy utilizing my background in design to create these clear and visually engaging lessons and activities using this medium. And I feel like there's a really big need for it as well, because a lot of these resources that you find online from these other native teachers are really great information or idea-wise, but really fall short when it comes to design, or they just feel pretty outdated. So that's where I really found my niche here, in redesigning these materials I find, or even just completely creating new ones myself. And then being able to give back and share my resources with that same teaching community who has helped me so much, and be recognized and appreciated for the design work I've put in, has honestly been one of the best feelings I've had teaching here. Okay, next we have reason number 8, desk warming. You will get a mixed reaction from native teachers here, whether they love desk warming or hate it. And even for me, it kind of falls on both lists, but this video is all about what I love about it. So here we go. So for those of you who don't know, desk warming is a term public school teachers use to describe the time when we're contractually required to be at school, but don't have any required work to do. So we are just there to literally sit at our desks And this usually falls during summer or winter vacation when we're not using our PTO days to take time off. So some teachers hate it because they think it's really unfair that we are required to come into work when there's literally no work to be done, especially when all the other teachers at school, including our co-teachers, don't have to be there. For me, I don't really mind it, and I kind of love it, because if you think about it, in what other job are you paid to come into work and not work? I usually use that time either to get ready for the upcoming semester, build new skills, work on a personal project, or even binge watch my favorite new Netflix show. And I feel like being at school puts me in an environment where I'm naturally motivated to be more productive. Because I feel like if I was at home, I would be eating, sleeping, and watching Netflix all day. Which, don't get me wrong, some teachers do that during desk warming too. Alright, so next we have number 9, the kids. This one is kind of self-explanatory, but teaching and building relationships with my students is probably one of the best parts about my job. As the foreign teacher, students are naturally drawn to you because you look like no other teacher in the school. So they're really excited to learn more about you and practice their English with you. And most of the time, I'm just as silly as they are, so I have a lot of fun interacting with my students. Of course I have my days where I absolutely love them to death and other days where they get on my last nerve. But, when the end of the year rolls around, you really realize how much of an impact these students have had on you and how much of an impact you've had on them, even if they haven't retained most of the information you taught them that year. So with that being said, that brings me to my 10th and final reason why I love my job teaching here in Korea. It's work that I feel matters. Again, I know some native teachers may disagree with me on this one, but I feel like in some way or another, I have positively impacted my students. It could be big, it could be small, but either way, it's something. And it's not just the fact that I'm helping them learn English. I'm also exposing them to other cultures and helping them become more global citizens. Even by the mere fact that I am Black. I could be the first Black person these kids have ever met, and that's just such a crazy thought to me. So if nothing else, I would love for each and every one of my students to walk away from this experience with me realizing that this image they see portrayed of Black culture through the media is not actually what it is in reality. Alright guys, so those are the 10 things I love about my job teaching here in South Korea. And I can say in my 4 years teaching here, my mindset about my career has definitely changed. So I thought for the longest time that in order for me to be happy, I had to be in a career or pursue a career that I was passionate about, because that's how I was making a living and that's how I was spending the majority of my days. But now what I'm realizing is that what's most important to me is to have a job that allows me the free time and the free mind space to pursue what I'm passionate about outside of work. And I gotta be honest, is teaching my passion? Not exactly. But I absolutely love that this job allows me the time and the means to travel the world, live comfortably, and pursue any interest I have. And honestly, it's the happiest I've ever been. So that's all from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So if you have any comments, questions, anything at all for me, please leave a comment below. And I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day. And I will see you next time.